Just wanted to touch base real quick on how the AI models and their memory work. This is important, and why should you care? Because when you're doing AI search and you're actually getting found in AI, you may or may not actually be found in the right way. The information could be wrong, the model might be confused. You're like, what the heck is happening? So I need to explain a little bit about how the models are trained and what basically core knowledge is versus search grounded or just AI search based results. So what happens? You go online, you start searching for yourself, your brand, whatever it might be, and you find something that shows up that's a little bit wrong, a little bit strange. So what's happened is one of two things. Number one is the model's confused, gets confused just like people do, or the information on the internet is incorrect, or basically what's happened is you just have to get the right training information out there into the next model. So you're like, okay, fine. The information is wrong. How do I fix it? Well, what do you do with that? So if it's something that was found in AI search, you actually can influence it. But if it's something that was found in the model's core knowledge, you can't. So what happens when the models are being trained, what they do is they go out to the internet, they crawl the internet, they find out all the information, they bring that back into their neural net, their brain, and then they store that there, and then there's a cutoff date. So I like to think of it like a high school graduation. The large language model stops learning, basically. And then the open AIs of the world or the Googles of the world teach the models to be nice over the next few months, and then they release it to the public. So as an example, ChatGPT 5 was trained and its knowledge goes up to October of 2024. Then they spent 10 months up until August of 2025 before they released it to the public to actually train the model to answer questions correctly and nicely and all that kind of good stuff. So what that means is ChatGPT 5 didn't know anything about Donald Trump's presidency. I mean, the more recent one, because it actually finished its training before he was even elected, let alone any of the policy implementations or anything that he's implemented since. And I'm not going to get into politics, but just so that you know, if you asked ChatGPT 5 anything about Donald Trump's presidency and you weren't referring back to the one that happened, 8 years ago, what you would have to do is it would have to go out to the internet and search. So, like any other brain, it would go out to the internet and search, bring that back. Like if you ask me a question, Dave, tell me about rockets. I would have to go to the internet, search around. I could then learn about rockets and come back and tell you about rockets, whatever it is you wanted to know. I mean, you could Google it yourself, but I could do that for you. But basically what I'm talking about now is that's exactly what these large language models, ChatGPT, Gemini, do. They go out to the internet, find the information, come back, put it in their own words, and present it to you. That's called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. And so you have your core knowledge, your high school grad, super smart, knows a lot of things, but may not know exactly what you're asking or about it. And so then it has to go out to the internet, find the information, come back and serve that to you in its own words. So that's very important because then people are like, okay, the information's wrong in the core knowledge. What can I do about that? Unfortunately, the answer is pretty much nothing. But the good news is if the information that it has about you in its core knowledge is wrong, and it's wrong in ChatGPT 5, well, fortunately, ChatGPT 5.1, 5.2, there's going to be a 6, there's going to be a 7. All of those different models are kind of high school grad, college grad, university grad, PhD grad. It just keeps getting smarter and smarter, more and more information that it knows. So if you correct your information online and it scrapes the information, finds you, puts that information in its database, in its brain, it will then serve the correct knowledge in the next model. Now, this is good also because the old models get deprecated, they don't get used anymore. As a result of that, your information will show up correctly. So that's all I wanted to share with you today is basically making sure that your information on the internet is correct because the models are searching for it right now. And if it's not correct, then it's going to be a 12 to 18 month cycle. If your information is incorrect today, whatever date today is, you change it today, the models may not scrape your information and then put it in their next version and then release to the public. Because remember, it has to learn and then they have to teach it to be nice. And that whole process takes 12 to 18 months. So change it today. And then that way you'll show up in the next ones. So thank you very much for watching. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video where I explain some more stuff. Talk to you soon.